don't know. I don't know if I should make it louder or softer. Oh. Or should I make the rain softer? It's good, okay. Right. Okay. I'm sorry, my cat is awake right now, so you might be able to hear him. I don't know why he's being so loud today. Hello. How you guys doing? How you guys doing? I don't have a voice teacher. I'm just whispering. It's because the game is up. That's why. I don't know if it made it better if I just sounded soft now. I don't know. I am very scuffed. Setup. I don't have proper mic for ASMR. But it's night, so good night. It's night time. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the hydrate. Did you hear that? Did you guys hear that? It's running out to pick up my wait. Sorry. I'm still out as a light somewhere. So if the light peaks big, I'm so sorry. I'm just a baby. I'm just a baby when it comes to ASMR. But hello. Hello, Joe. Hello, Link. Marky. Sona this way. Thank you for the follow, by the way. Sorry. Thank you. So, hello, thank you for the chat. Hello. Stretch. Oh, my shoulder. I hope you guys are doing good. Good night. My cat. Mocha, shut up. But, yes, so I'm going to the check-ins that weren't able to be done. That did not go to. How do I do it? Let me check. Oh, it's because noise suppression is also on. Okay, my noise suppression was on. Sorry. But okay, yeah, that was my noise suppression then. Sorry. That's oh god, sorry. That was probably what the main problem was, the noise suppression. Right. Let me check how to make this just whispering into my mic. But I'll try my best. Thank you for the check-in, Lemonade. Thank you. How you doing today? How are you? I hope you're doing well. But yes, I did not pick out. I didn't pick out a story to read because I got a little bit preoccupied before stream. I got a little distracted, but it's okay. I don't know exactly what kind of story I want to read you guys. I think I might read a fairy tale story, like Cinderella or something, if that's okay with you guys. Because I think those are pretty good to like read as a bedtime story. My cat wants to like mess everything up. Doing good, a little tired, and I expect to be awake much longer. Okay, well, if you managed to go to sleep, then I did my job properly. And I'm happy with that. Oh shoot, I was blushing. I wasn't supposed to be blushing. That was for the thumbnail. I do want to own my cinema roll though. I'm gonna own my cinema roll while I read for you guys. You love it? Okay. I can actually probably pull up a fairy tale. I'll probably pull up Cinderella. So give me a second. What the heck happened to my mouse? I can't see my cursor. What the fuck? I can't see my cursor anymore. What happened? My cursor just disappeared from my screen. It's nowhere to be found. My cursor is gone. It's okay, I can still click. It just takes a little bit. Wait. I need to clear my throat. It's so hard to clear a throat when you're trying to be soft. Okay, thank you for the check-in, Dragon. And thank you for the hydrate. Thank you. Okay. God. It's so hard without my cursor. Okay. Let's try this. You for cough and sneeze. Yeah, I will. Because I definitely do not want to like blow up your guys' eardrums. Comfy bedtime, yes. Also, how you doing? Welcome. But yes, let's find the story. So, we can actually read the Grimm Brothers one. Should I read the Grimm Brothers version of Cinderella, or should I find like the child-friendly version of it, like Disney? Should I find the Disney version of it or something? do this properly. Okay. There was once a rich man whose wife lay sick, and when she felt her end drawing near, she called to her only daughter to come near her bed, and said, "Dear child, be good and pious, and God will always take care of you, and I will look down upon you from heaven and will be with you." And then she closed her eyes and died. The maiden went every day to her mother's grave and wept, and was always pious and good. When the winter came, the snow covered the grave with a white covering, and when the sun came in the early spring and melted it away, the man took to himself another wife. The new wife brought 2 daughters home with her, and they were beautiful and fair in appearance, but at heart were black and ugly. And then began very evil times for the poor stepdaughter. "Is a stupid creature to sit in the same room with us," said they. "Those who eat food must earn it. She's nothing but a kitchen maid." They took away her pretty dresses, and put on her an old grey girdle, and gave her wooden shoes to wear. "Just look now at the proud princess, how she is decked out," cried they, laughing. And then they sent her into the kitchen. There she was obliged to do heavy work from morning to night, get up early in the morning, draw water, make the fires, cook, and wash. Besides that, the sisters did their utmost to torment her, mocking her and strewing peas and lentils among the ashes, and setting her to pick them up. In the evenings, when she was quite tired out from her day's hard work, she had no bed to lie on, but was obliged to rest on the earth among the cinders. And because she always looked dusty and dirty, as if she had slept in the cinders, they named her Cinderella. It happened one day that the father went to the fair, and he asked his 2 stepdaughters what he should bring back for them. "Fine clothes," said one. "Pearls and jewels," said the other. "But what will you have, Cinderella?" said he. "The first twig, father, that strikes against your hat on the wind. Oh, that is what I should like you to bring me." So he bought for the 2 stepdaughters fine clothes, pearls, and jewels, and on his way home, as he rode through a green lane, a hazel twig struck against his hat, and he broke it off and carried it home with him. And when he reached home, he gave the stepdaughters what they had asked for, and to Cinderella he gave the hazel twig. She thanked him, and went to her mother's grave, and planted this twig there, weeping so bitterly that the tears fell upon and watered it, and it flourished and became a fine tree. Cinderella went to see it 3 times a day, and wept and prayed, and each time a white bird rose up from the tree, and if she uttered any wish, the bird brought her whatever she had wished for. Now it came to pass that the king ordained a festival that should last for 3 days, and to which all the beautiful young women of the country were bidden, so that the king's son might choose a bride from among them. When the 2 stepdaughters heard that they too were bidden to appear, they felt very pleased, and they called Cinderella and said, "Comb our hair, brush our shoes, and make our buckles fast. We're going to the wedding feast at the king's castle." When she heard this, Cinderella could not help crying, for she too would have liked to go to the dance, and she begged her stepmother to allow her. "You, what? You, Cinderella," said she, "in all your dust and dirt, you want to go to the festival. You that have no dress and no shoes, you want to dance." But as she persisted in asking, at last the stepmother said, "I have strewn a dish full of lentils in the ashes, and if you can pick them all up again in 2 hours, you may go with us." Then the maiden went to the back door that led into the garden and called out, "O gentle doves, O turtle doves, and all the birds that be, the lentils that in ashes lie, come and pick up for must be put in the dish. The bad you may eat if you wish. Then there came to the kitchen window 2 white doves, and after them turtle doves, and at last a crowd of all the birds under heaven, chirping and fluttering, and they alighted among the ashes. And the doves nodded with their heads and began to pick, peck, pick, peck. And then all the others began to pick, peck, pick, peck. And put all the good grains into the dish. Before an hour was over, all was done, and they flew away. Then the maiden brought the dish to her stepmother, feeling joyful, and thinking that now she should go to the feast. But the stepmother said, "No, Cinderella, you have no proper clothes, and you do not know how to dance, and you would be laughed at." And when Cinderella cried for disappointment, she added, "If you can bake 2 dishes full of lentils out of the ashes, nice and clean, you shall go with us," thinking to herself, for that is not possible. When she had strewn 2 dishes full of lentils among the ashes, the maiden went back through the back door to the garden, and cried, "O gentle doves, O turtle doves, and all the birds that be, the lentils that in ashes lie, come and bake up for me. The good must be put in the dish, the bad you may eat if you wish." So there came to the kitchen window 2 white doves, and then some turtle doves, and at last a crowd of all the other birds under heaven, chirping and fluttering, and they alighted among the ashes. And the doves nodded with their heads and began to pick, peck, pick, peck, and then all the others began to pick, peck, pick, peck, and put all the good grains into the dish. And before half an hour was over, it was all done, and they flew away. Then the maiden took the dishes to the stepmother, feeling joyful. And thinking that she should go with them to the feast. But she said, "All this is of no good to you. You cannot come with us, for you have no proper clothes and cannot dance. You would put us to shame." Then she turned her back on poor Cinderella and made haste to set out with her 2 proud daughters. And as there was no one left in the house, Cinderella went to her mother's grave under the hazel bush and cried, little tree, shake over me, that silver and gold may come down and cover me." Then the bird threw down a dress of gold and silver, and a pair of slippers embroidered with silk and silver. And in all haste she put on the dress and went to the festival. But her stepmother and sisters did not know her, and thought she must be a foreign princess. She looked so beautiful in her golden dress. Of Cinderella they never thought at all, and supposed that she was sitting at home and picking the lentils out of the ashes. The king's son came to meet her, and took her by the hand, and danced with her, and refused to stand up with anyone else, so that he might not be obliged to let go of her hand. And when anyone came to claim it, he answered, "She is my partner." And when the evening came, she wanted to go home, but the prince said he would go with her to take care of her, for he wanted to see where the beautiful maiden lived. But she escaped him and jumped up into the pigeon house. Then the prince waited until the father came, and told him the strange maiden had jumped into the pigeon house. The father thought to himself, "It surely cannot be Cinderella," and called for axes and hedges, and had the pigeon house cut down, but there was no one in it. And when they entered the house, there sat Cinderella in her dirty clothes among the cinders, and a little oil lamp burned dimly in the chimney. For Cinderella had been very quick, and had jumped out of the pigeon house again, and had run to the hazel bush, and there she had taken off her beautiful dress, and had it laid on the grave, and the bird had carried it away again. And then she had put on her little grey girdle again, and had sat down on the kitchen among the cinders. The next day, when the festival began anew, and the parents and stepsisters had gone to it, Cinderella went to the hazel bush and cried, little tree, shake over me, that silver and gold may come down and cover me." Then the bird cast down a still more splendid dress than the one kitchen, there sat Cinderella among the cinders, as usual, for she had gone down the other side of the tree and had taken back her beautiful clothes to the bird on the hazel bush, and had put on her old grey girdle again. On the third day, when the parents and the stepchildren had set off, Cinderella went again to her mother's grave and said to the tree, little tree, shake over me, that silver and gold may come down and cover me." Then the bird cast down a dress, the like of which had never been seen for splendor and brilliancy, in Zephyr's hour of cold. And when she appeared in this dress at the feast, nobody knew what to say for wonderment. The prince danced with her alone, and if anyone else asked her, he answered, "She is my partner." And when it was evening, Cinderella wanted to go home, and the prince was about to go with her, but she ran past him so quickly that he could not follow her. But he had laid a plan, and had caused all the steps to be spread with pitch, so that if she rushed down them, the left shoe of the maiden remained sticking in it. The prince picked it up, and saw that it was of gold, and very small and slender. The next morning, he went to the father and told him that none should be his bride save the one whose foot the golden shoe could fit. The two sisters were very glad, because they had pretty feet. The eldest went to her room to try on the shoe, and her mother stood by, but she could not get her great toe into it, for the shoe was too small. Then her mother handed her a knife and said, "Cut the toe off, for when you are queen you will never have to go on foot." So the girl cut her toe off, squeezed her foot into the shoe, concealed the pain, and went down to the prince. Then he took her with him on his horse as his bride and rode off. They had to pass by the grave, and there sat the two pigeons on the hazel bush and cried, "There they go, there they go. There's blood on her shoe. The shoe is too small, not the right bride at all." Then the prince looked at her shoe and saw the blood flowing, and he turned his horse around and took the false bride home again, saying she's not the right one, and that the other sister must try on the shoe. So she went into her room to do so, and got her toes comfortably in, but her heel was too large. Then her mother handed her the knife, saying, "Cut a piece off your heel. When you're a queen, you will never have to go on foot." So the girl cut a piece off her heel and thrust her foot into the shoe, concealed the pain, and went down to the prince, who took his bride before him on his horse and rode off. When they passed by the hazel bush, the two pigeons sat there and cried, "There they go, there they go. There's blood on her shoe. The shoe is too small, not the right bride at all." Then the prince looked at her foot and saw how the blood was flowing from the shoe and staining the white stocking. And he turned his horse around and brought the false bride home again. "This is not the right one," said he. "Have you no other daughter?" "No," said the man. "Only my dead wife left behind her a little stunted Cinderella. It is impossible that she can be the bride." But the king's son ordered her to be sent for. But the mother said, "Oh no, she is much too dirty. I could not let her be seen." But he would have her fetched, and so Cinderella had to appear. First, she washed her face and hands clean, and went in and curtsied to the prince, who held out to her the golden shoe. Then she sat down on a stool and drew her foot out of the heavy wooden shoe, and slipped it into the golden one, which fitted it perfectly. And when she stood up, and the prince looked in her face, he knew again the beautiful maiden that had danced with him, and he cried, "This is the right bride." The stepmother and two sisters were thunderstruck, and grew pale with anger, but he put Cinderella before him on his horse and rode off. And as they passed the hazel bush, the two white pigeons cried, "There they go, there they go. No blood on her shoe. The shoe's not too small. The right bride is she after all." And when they had thus cried, they came flying after and perched on Cinderella's shoulders, one on the right, the other on the left, and so remained. And when her wedding with the prince was appointed to be held, the false sisters came, hoping to curry favor, this story, I remembered those sisters like cutting off parts of their feet for it to finish. I saw that story. I saw that movie in theaters whenever it came out years ago. It was very interesting. It was very interesting. Should I read another story? Should I read another bedtime story for you guys? Yoshi, thank you for the follow. Thank you. I'll read another one. Do you want the original Beauty and the Beast? I think there's one by the Grimm brothers. I'll check. Sorry. Let me see. ASMR is so good. Playing all this with you. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. The dictionary. I'm not gonna read the dictionary. Do you know how many words I would mispronounce? Do you know how many words I would mispronounce? Let's see. Beauty and the Beast. Is there I don't know if there's a Grimm Brothers version, but I know there's the original version. Is there a Brothers Grimm version? Where is it? Is it this one? I think I found it. Okay. I can read the Grimm's brother version of Beauty and the Beast. Give me a second. Sorry, I had to burp. I had to burp. Is English your first language? Technically it's my second language. I learned Spanish first. That was the first thing I learned how to speak. But I'm just bad at speaking in general. I mispronounce things all the time. Okay, let's go to the story. Okay. Once upon a time, as a merchant set off for the market, he asked each of his 3 daughters what she would like as a present on his return. The first daughter wanted a brocade dress, the second a pearl necklace, but the third, whose name was Beauty, the youngest, prettiest, and sweetest of them all, said to her father, "All I'd like is a rose you've baked specially for me." When the merchant had finished his business, he set off for home. However, a sudden storm blew up, and his horse could hardly make headway in the howling gale. Cold and weary, the merchant had lost all hope of reaching an inn when he suddenly noticed a bright light shining in the middle of a wood. As he drew near, he saw that it was a castle bathed in light. "I hope I'll find shelter there for the night." Oh my god. He said to himself. When he reached the door, he saw it was open, but though he shouted, nobody came to greet him. Plucking up courage, he went inside, still calling out to attract attention. On a table in the main hall, a splendid dinner lay already served. The merchant lingered, still shouting for the owner of the castle, but no one came, and so the starving merchant sat down to a hearty meal. Overcome by curiosity, he ventured upstairs, where the corridor led into magnificent rooms and halls. A fire crackled in the first room, and a soft bed looked very inviting. It was now late, and the merchant could not resist. He lay down on the bed and fell fast asleep. When he woke next morning, an unknown hand had placed a mug of steaming coffee and some fruit by flash caught his eye. Remembering his promise to Beauty, he bent down to pick a rose. Instantly, out of the rose garden sprang a horrible beast, wearing splendid clothes. Two bloodshot eyes gleaming angrily glared at him, and a deep, terrifying voice growled, "Ungrateful man, I gave you shelter, you ate at my table, and slept in my own bed. But now all the things I get is a theft of my favorite flowers. I shall put you to death for this slight." Trembling with fear, the merchant fell on his knees before the beast. Forgive me, don't kill me, I'll do anything you say. The rose wasn't for me, it was for my daughter, Beauty. I promised to bring her back a rose for my journey." The beast dropped the paw it had clamped on the unhappy merchant. "I shall spare your life, but on one condition, that you bring me your daughter." The terror-stricken merchant, faced with certain death if he did not obey, promised that he would do so. When he reached home in tears, his 3 daughters ran to greet him. After he had told them of his dreadful adventure, Beauty put his mind to rest immediately. "Dear father, I'd do anything for you. Don't worry, you'll be able to keep your promise and save your life. Take me to the castle. I'll stay there in your place." The merchant hugged his daughter. "I never did doubt your love for me. For the moment, I can only thank you for saving my life." So Beauty was led to the castle. The beast, however, had quite an unexpected greeting for the girl. Instead of menacing doom as it had done with her father, it was surprisingly pleasant. In the beginning, Beauty was so frightened of the beast and shuddered at the sight of it. Then she found that, in spite of the monster's awful head, her horror of it was gradually fading as time went by. She had one of the finest rooms in the castle and sat for hours embroidering in front of the fire. And the beast would sit for hours on end, only a short distance away, silently gazing at her. Then it started to say a few kind words, till in the end, Beauty was amazed to discover that she was actually enjoying its conversation. The days passed, and Beauty and the beast became good friends. Then one day, the beast asked the girl to be his wife. Taken by surprise, Beauty did not know what to say. Marry such an ugly monster, she would rather die. But she did not want to hurt the feelings of one who, after all, had been kind to her. And she remembered too that she'd owed her in her own life as well as her father's. "I really can't say yes," she began shakily. "I'd so much like to," the beast interrupted, where with an abrupt gesture, "I quite understand, and I'm not offended by your refusal." Life went on as usual, and nothing further was said. One day, the beast presented Beauty with a magnificent magic mirror. When Beauty peeped into it, she could see her family far away. "You won't feel so lonely now," were the words that accompanied the gift. Beauty stared for hours at her distant family. Then she began to feel worried. One day, the beast found her weeping beside the magic mirror. "What's wrong?" he asked kindly as always. "My father is gravely ill and close to dying. Oh, how I wish I could see him again before it's too late." But the beast only shook its head. "No, you will never leave this castle," and off it stalked in a rage. However, a little later, it returned and spoke solemnly to the girl. "If you swear that you will return here in 7 days' time, I'll let you go and visit your father." Beauty threw herself She rushed up the stairs, calling, but there was no reply. Her heart in her mouth, Beauty ran into the garden, and there crouched the beast, its eyes shut as though dead. Beauty threw herself at it and hugged it tightly. Don't die, don't die, I'll marry you. At these words, a miracle took place. The beast's ugly snout turned magically to the face of a handsome young man. How I've been longing for this moment, he said. I was suffering in silence and couldn't tell my frightful secret. An evil witch turned me to a monster, and only the love of a maiden willing to accept me as I was could transform me back into my real self. My dearest, I'll be so happy if you'll marry me. The wedding took place shortly after, and from that day on, the young prince would have nothing but roses in his gardens, and that's why, to this day, the castle is known as the Castle of the Rose. Yippee! The end. Have good sleep, Ozzy. Thank you for the check-in and thank you for popping in. Good night, kisses. Not that dark, but a little questionable. Yeah, it's very weird, you know. The way he led it to like, oh, I'll marry you, and then turns into a man, oh, thank you. Thank you for marrying me. It's so weird. These stories are very short. I wanted to say shortened stories, and I say stories. They're very short. Do we want another story? Or do you guys just want to chat? Or something? Sorry, I had to mute. I had to burp. More stories. Your EP. Oh, hi, Dashi. How you doing? Oh, wait, you said your EP. I hope you can get some EP soon. I hope you can get the good EP soon. Thank you for the check-in. Thank you. Let's see. If I can find some more stories, we can keep going with the Grimm's brothers. You'll EP soon. Okay, that's good. What do I have? Can I? Oh. Oh my god, there's so many pages. There's 301 pages. Oh my god. Should I read all of the stories in this PDF? But as you prefer. I have a PDF and it's 301 stories. And it's the Grimm's fairy tales. Okay, I'll read them for you guys. Tutti. I don't know if I'll read them all, but I'll read a few of them. There's a lot of different stories, but I don't think they have the Little Mermaid in here. They have the Golden Goose, Snow White and Rose Red. Good EPs. Have good EPs. Have good EPs. Have the good EPs. Have the good EPs. Rumpelstiltskin. Rapunzel or Rumpelstiltskin, we can jump up. I can do I can do Rapunzel first and then Rumpelstiltskin. How you doing, Calram? I hope you're doing well. Let's see. Rapunzel is on page 83. Okay. Oh. Oops. Sorry. I forget. Damn it. I forget this happens. Sorry. I forget this happens. Whenever I do that. Okay. Sorry. Was it 83, I think? It's okay. You're good, that's good, that's good. Maybe I should do it with the other. No, because then the cheeses I used to have. God dang it. Give me a second. I don't know what happened to my cursor. Let me see. F5. That did not work. What's FN? Seguiré desbloqueando lo que duermo, pero te tendré en fondo. Dame mucho ASMR. Este estilo, pero leyendo un solo libro, un poco más largo. Ok. Gracias por venir, gracias por venir. Que tengas buenas noches. Buenas noches, hasta mañana. Okay, okay. I was gonna do Rapunzel, right? Oh my god, this is gonna take forever. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. How do I do this? just before. If he was to have any rest, her husband must once more descend into the garden. In the gloom of the evening, therefore, he let himself down again, but when he clambered down the wall, he was terribly afraid, for he saw the enchantress standing before him. "How can you dare," said she with angry look, "descend into my garden and steal my rampion like a thief? You shall suffer for it." "Ah," answered he, "let mercy take the place of justice. I only made up my mind to do it out of necessity. My wife saw your rampion from the window, and felt such a longing for it that she would have died if she had not gotten some to eat." Then the enchantress allowed her anger to be softened, and said to him, "If the case be as you say, I will allow you to take away with you as much rampion as you will. Only I make one condition. You must give me the child which your wife will bring into the world. It shall be well treated, and I will care for it like a mother." The man in his terror consented to everything, and when the woman was brought to bed, the enchantress appeared at her at once, gave the child the name of Rapunzel, and took it away with her. Rapunzel grew into the most beautiful child under the sun. When she was 12 years old, the enchantress shut her into a tower, which lay in a forest, and had neither stairs nor door, but quite at the top was a little window. When the enchantress wanted to go in, she placed herself beneath it and cried, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me." Rapunzel had magnificent long hair, fine as spun gold, and when she heard the voice of the enchantress, she unfastened her braided tresses, wound them round one of the hooks of the window above, and then let the hair fall 20 ells down, and the enchantress climbed up by it. After a year or two, it came to pass that the king's son rode through the forest and passed by the tower. Then he heard a song which was so charming that he stood still and listened. This was Rapunzel, who in her solitude passed her time in letting her sweet voice resound. The king's son wanted to climb up to her, and looked for the door of the tower, but none was to be found. He rode home, but the singing had so deeply touched his heart that every day he went out into the forest and listened to it. Once when he was thus standing behind a tree, he saw that an enchantress came there, and he heard how she cried, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me." Then Rapunzel let down the braids of her hair, and the enchantress climbed up to her. "If that is the ladder by which one mounts, I too will try my fortune," said he, and the next day, when it began to grow dark, he went to the tower and cried, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me." Immediately the hair fell down, and the king's son climbed up. At first Rapunzel was terribly frightened when a man such as her eyes had never yet beheld came to her, but the king's son began to talk to her quite like a friend, and told her that his heart had been so stirred that it had not let him to rest, and he had been forced to see her. Then Rapunzel lost her fear, and when he asked her if she would take him for her husband, and she saw that he was young and handsome, she thought, "He'll love me more than old Dame Gothel does," and she said yes, and laid her hand in his. She said, "I will willingly go away with you, but I do not know how to get down. Bring with you a skein of silk every time that you come, and I will weave a ladder with it, and when that is ready, I will descend, and you will take me on your horse." They agreed that until that time he should come to her every evening, for the old woman came by day. The enchantress remarked nothing of this, until once Rapunzel said to her, "Tell me, Dame She was so pitiless that she took poor Rapunzel into a desert where she had to live in great grief and misery. On the same day that she cast out Rapunzel, however, the enchantress fastened the braids of her hair, which she had cut off, to the hook of the window, and when the king's son came and cried, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me," she let the hair down. The king's son assented, but instead of finding his dearest Rapunzel, he found the enchantress, who gazed at him with wicked and venomous looks. "Aha!" she cried mockingly. "You would fetch your dearest, but the beautiful bird sits no longer singing in the nest. The cat has got it and will scratch out your eyes as well. Rapunzel is lost to you. You will never see her again." The king's son was beside himself with pain, and in his despair he leapt down from the tower. He escaped with his life, but the thorns into which he fell pierced his eyes. Then he wandered, quite blind, about the forest, ate nothing but roots and berries, and did naught but lament and weep over the loss of his dearest wife. Thus he roamed about in misery for some years, and at length came to the desert where Rapunzel, with the twins to which he had given birth, a boy and a girl, lived in wretchedness. He heard a voice, and it seemed so familiar to him that he went towards it, and when he approached, Rapunzel knew him, and fell on his neck and wept. 2 of her ears wetted his eyes, and they grew clear again, and he could see with them as before. He led her to his kingdom, where he was joyfully received, and lived for a long time afterwards, happily and contented. And that's the end of Rapunzel. Hello, hello. Hi, Galaxy. I hope you have good lurkies. And hi, Toxin. I'm just trying to, read you guys some bedtime stories. I'm very new to ASMR and scoffed, so I apologize if this is not the best. I apologize if this is not the best ASMR. Hi, Videos, thank you for the check-in. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. How you doing? I hope you're doing well. This kinda cute. Just into the stories. And it was kinda good for them. Yeah, it was. They had a happy ending. Almost died, but but they had a happy ending in the end. Bedtime story time. Well, don't fall asleep. I know that I was asked to read Rumpelstiltskin, so I'll do that. Bedtime story 9 AM. It's 2 AM for me, so let me quickly find Rumpelstiltskin. I think it's a bit farther than Rapunzel. Just give me a second. I found it. whose house was close by, and the miller, you must know, had a very beautiful daughter. She was, moreover, very shrewd and clever, and the miller was so proud of her that he one day told the king of the land, who used to come and hunt in the wood, that his daughter could spin gold out of straw. Now this king was very fond of money, and when he heard the miller's boast, his greediness was raised, and he sent for the girl to be brought before him. Then he led her to a chamber in his palace, where there was a great heap of straw, and gave her a spinning wheel, and said, "All this must be spun into gold before morning, as you love your life." It was in vain that the poor maiden said that it was only a silly boast of her father, for that she could do no such thing as spin straw into gold. The chamber door was locked, and she was left alone. She sat down in one corner of the room and began to bewail her hard fate, when, on a sudden, the door opened, and a droll-looking little man hobbled in and said, "Good morrow to you, my good lass. What are you whipping for?" "Alas," said she, "I must spin the straw into gold, and I know not how." "What will you give me?" And the hobgoblin, said the hobgoblin, "to do it for you?" "My necklace," replied the maiden. He took her at her word and sat himself down at the wheel and whistled and sang, round about, lo and behold, reel away, straw into gold." And round about the wheel went merrily. The work was quickly done, and the straw was all spun into gold. When the king came and saw this, he was greatly astonished and pleased, but his heart grew still more greedy of gain, and he shut up the poor miller's daughter again with a fresh task. Then she knew not what to do, and sat down once more to weep. But the dwarf soon opened the door and said, "What will you give me to do your task?" "The ring on my finger," said she. So her little friend took the ring and began to work at the wheel again, and whistled and sang, round about, lo and behold, reel away, straw into gold." Till, long before morning, all was done again. The king was greatly delighted to see all this glittering treasure, but still he had not enough. So he took the miller's daughter to a yet larger heap and said, "All this must be spun tonight, and if it is, you shall be my queen." As soon as she was alone, that dwarf came in and said, "What will you give me to spin gold for you this third time?" "I have nothing left," said she. "Then say you give me," said the little man, "the first child that you may have when you are queen." "That may never be," thought the miller's daughter, and as she knew no other way to get her task done, she said she would do what he asked. Round went the wheel again to the old song, and the mannequin once more spun the heap into gold. The king came in the morning, and finding all he wanted, was forced to keep his word, so he married the miller's daughter, and she really became queen. At birth of her first little child, she was very glad, and forgot the dwarf and what she had said. But one day he came into her room, where she was sitting playing with her baby, and put her in mind of it. Then she grieved sorely at her misfortune, and said she would give him all the wealth of the kingdom if he would let her off. But in vain, till at last her tears softened him, and he said, "I will give you 3 days' grace, and if during that time you tell me my name, you shall keep your child." messengers came back and said I had traveled 2 days without hearing of any other names. But yesterday, as I was climbing a high hill among the trees of the forest where the fox and the hare bid each other good night, I saw a little hut, and before the hut burnt a fire, and round about the fire a funny little dwarf was standing upon one leg and singing. Merrily the feast I'll make, today I'll brew, tomorrow I'll bake, merrily I'll dance and sing, for next day will a stranger bring, little does my lady dream, Rumpelstiltskin is my name. When the queen heard this, she jumped for joy, and as soon as her little friend came, she sat down upon her throne and called all her court round to enjoy the fun, and the nurse stood by her with the baby in her arms, as if it was quite ready to be given up. Then the little man began to chuckle at the thought of having the poor child to take home with him to his hut in the woods, and he cried out, "Now, lady, what is my name? Is it John?" asked she. "No, madame." "Is it Tom?" "No, madame." "Is it Jemmy?" "It is not." "Can your name be Rumpelstiltskin?" said the lady slyly. "Some witch told you that, some witch told you that," cried the little man, and dashed his right foot in a rage so deep into the floor that he was forced to lay hold of it with both hands to pull it out. Then he made the best of his way off, while the nurse laughed and the baby crowed, and all the court cheered at him for having so much trouble for nothing, and said, "We wish you a very good morning and a merry feast, Mr. Rumpelstiltskin." There you go. Also, Dog said thank you for the follow, thank you, and thank you for the check-in. I appreciate it. And Galra, thank you for the follow too. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I feel a little bit sleepy. I feel a tiny bit sleepy. I don't know if I should end stream here or if I should read one more story. It is gonna be 2:30 a.m. Okay, I will go eat. Thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you. I think I'll try to do some more ASMR streams in the future. Maybe I'll pick out like full stories, like longer stories to read. Maybe I can gather up the courage for doing like ASMR scripts. But thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you. I don't know if I'm gonna stream later today, but as always, I'll let you guys know in Discord. Which is this, by the way. I'll do that as well. And if you guys want to see the rest of my socials, like my YouTube, I have one for Twitch mods, my main YouTube, and my ASMR YouTube, which I'm planning on working on an ASMR script audio soon, so that I can have that be posted. But for now, that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll try to get better at this kind of stuff. Twin. But thank you guys so much for coming. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, or night, or evening, whatever your time zone is. And I'll see you guys later. Goodbye. I love you guys so much.